So I had one more question, and it's more about adoption. And one of the biggest arguments that I see from people, they continuously say, "Well, this coin inflates forever." How do you convince people that because of the way it's set up, and because it's staked out so long, and a lot of this may never even hit the market because of the emergency on staking and things like that.
Yeah.
Give us your elevator pitch on people that tell you that this can never do well because it is a forever inflating token.
Well, I think that's the whole point behind it. It's an ever inflating token. All right. And I think that's the point about HEX in the first place. But T-shares are not, and that's really where the earning of it comes in. And so I think on long time frames with higher lows over time, by getting engaged with the mining and the staking of HEX, you're able to you'll be able to beat the market in that way, because you're really, and I think Lamont, Professor Lamont really said this the best, but Lamont Black, that it's really trading value or giving value to the short timers now in order to receive more later. So you have to believe in some things, like you got to believe crypto's real. You got to believe that HEX is useful. You got to believe in long-term holding and delayed gratification. These are all hard things to believe in, right?
Sure.
I mean, like you're going to believe in 15 years, and
We also have to believe that the OA will never sell.
you have to believe the OA will never sell or will work, in a way that's supporting of the system, always has, so you have all these different concerns that are there.
Cool. Yep, I think that's one of the biggest overlooked things is not the HEX, but the T-share, and I was kind of serving that up to you there.
Yeah, the biggest pitch. I mean, I didn't give you a pitch, which is great, but Johnny has a good one, Johnny Chaos, which is basically this. All right, people, and I have talked to some people about this a little bit on the old X there. Listen, it inflates, it's paid to the stakers, and it can outpace. It dilutes everybody else who doesn't stake. All right. And so if you have people who are willing to hold, if you have more people willing to hold than sell, and you have people that are willing to make a market, then you have value on the other end, right? And the whole thing grows over time.
Yep.
Why do you think there is such a misunderstanding of the T-share? Like, do you think it's just people choosing not to stake? That are just seeing HEX, like Ewok said, talking about the permanent, the forever inflation and stuff like that, and they don't actually understand T-shares. Like, do you think for those people, I don't want to say that it's just not worth it to even hold HEX if they're only going to hold it liquid, because if they want to buy it, I mean, we've seen it do a 10,000x already in the past, and we think we know what this ecosystem is capable of doing. But do you think, unless you are participating in mining HEX, staking HEX, that it's just not going to be worth it for you to do, or at the very least, you're wasting a huge opportunity by not punting it out at least a certain amount of time?
Yeah, I think there's a couple factors. There's the boil the frog factor, where the system moves so slowly. It's not exciting. I mean, other than a few of us weirdos, right? Not waking up in the morning going, Quattro Cinco's, let's stake some X. This is great, right? I mean, it's not like the thing, right? And so you got a little bit of that, so it's hard to see it. Then you have the, people are going to be like, I don't know, they don't want to commit. They don't have the value. They don't know that things are going to continue. But probably the number one thing is, and I get this all the time. People just point to the top and go, look, you could have sold at 40 cents. Staking's crazy. And, that's a really hard argument to kind of like beat back. Now, we all know that the reason that happened, besides the fact that money was coming in and we had the, sacrifices, so people wanted to hold on to HEX in order to sacrifice it, is because we had less sellers, than buyers. We had more buyers. And that is what drives the price up. If all of us had decided we're going to sell, that top wouldn't have lasted very long, right?
Yeah.
And that would have gone away. So I think it's a mixture of things. It's maturity in the market, all that stuff.